Shabbat Shalom. Let's bless our King. Baraku et Yahweh. Baraku et Yahweh Hame Barak. Barukata Yahweh Hame Barak le Alam Wayed. Barukata Yahweh Eloheinu melech ha'alam. Asher bekar benu makol hamayim wenatan lanu ha'torah. Barukata Yahweh notan ha'torah. That is to say, blessed be Yahweh. Blessed be Yahweh the Blessed One. Blessed are you, Yahweh the Blessed One, for all eternity. Blessed are you, Yahweh, our Elohim, King of the universe, who selected us from all the peoples and gave us your Torah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, giver of the Torah. To the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Israel, our King, our Savior, our Deliverer, our Provider, our Healer, we come to you today, Master, asking you to forgive us of our sins, cleanse us of unrighteousness, that our prayers be not hindered this morning. We ask, Master, that the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight. For we are thy people, Israel, Master. We come out today on your set-apart day, that you said those that rest on this day as you did, it shall be a perpetual covenant that we shall keep forever throughout all of our generations, and those that do are in a covenant contract with you. So we are your witnesses today, O Master, that we come today, and we thank you for all things. We thank you for life, health, and strength. We thank you for food, clothing, and shelter, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We thank you that you have taken us out of idolatry, O King. O Master, we ask that you would forgive us of our sins. Forgive our ancestors for their sins, Master, that brought us into this land of exile. How foolish were we, O King, to think that a man told us that someone could die for our transgressions, when you said that each man shall die for his own sins. How foolish were we, Master, to believe a man that said that we could gather on the first day of the week, when you said that we shall gather on the seventh day and rest on the seventh day. How foolish, Master, that we would believe that we shall spend eternal life in heaven, when you said that our inheritance was the land of Canaan. So we thank you, Master, that you have taken us out of idolatry, and that you have given us wisdom, and that you have shown us your truth. We thank you, O King, for all things. We thank you for this day that you have made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you for those that are gathered here today, and the families that are represented, and our children that you have kept all week long, O King, and that you brought them to us home safely every night. We thank you for the healing of our bodies, Master. We thank you for the sustenance of the food that you have given us to strengthen our muscles. We thank you for our activities of our limbs. We thank you for all the senses that you have given us, that they are functioning properly. We thank you for this world that you have made, and you said that that you made it for man, and that you made it to be occupied. So we thank you that you have made us the eternal people. We ask that you would keep us in favor, Master, and that you would speak kind words towards us. For we know that your word shall not go out empty, and it shall not return to you void, but those things that you speak shall come to pass. So speak kind words towards your people today, Israel, Master, for we know that when you speak a word, who shall deliver out of your hands? That there is none that can deliver, Master. So we come to you, and we stretch our hand to thee, because there's no other help that we know. And we ask, O King, that you would keep us until we meet here again. This is our prayer.
We're going to read today from Psalms, beginning in Psalms 120. And everybody, if you would please read with us. I called on Yahweh in my distress, and he answered me. Rescue me, Yahweh, from lips that tell lies, from a tongue full of deceit. What has he in store for you, deceitful tongue? What more will he do to you? A warrior's sharp arrows with red-hot coals from a broom tree. How wretched I am, that I am an alien in Melchizedek, that I must live among the tents of Kedar. I have had to live far too long with those who hate peace. I am all for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. If I raise my eyes to the hills, from where will my help come? My help comes from Yahweh, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. Your guardian is not asleep. No, the guardian of Israel never slumbers or sleeps. Oh. Let's go back and read that again. Your guardian is not asleep. No, the guardian of Israel never slumbers or sleeps. Yahweh is your guardian at your right hand. Yahweh provides you with shade. The sun can't strike you during the day or even the moon at night. Yahweh will guard you against all harm. He will guard your life. Yahweh will guard your coming and going from now on and forever. Whoa. Come on, Israel. Come on, Hebrew Israel. Everybody lives in fear. Everybody is scared, but let's read that again. Yahweh will guard you against all harm. Yahweh will guard you against, come on, say it like you mean it. Yahweh will guard me against all harm. He will guard my life. He will guard my coming and going from now and forever. I was glad when they said to me, the house of Yahweh, let's go. Our feet were already standing at your gates, Jerusalem. Jerusalem built as a city, fostering friendship and unity. The tribes have come up there, the tribes of Yahweh, as a witness to Israel, to give thanks to the name of Yahweh. For there the thrones of justice were set up, the thrones of the house of David. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. May shalom be within your ramparts, prosperity in your palaces. For the sake of my family and friends, I say, shalom be within you. For the sake of the house of Yahweh our El, I will seek your dwelling, well-being. I will raise my eyes to you, whose throne is in heaven. As a servant looks to the hand of his master, or a slave girl to the hand of her mistress, so our eyes turn to Yahweh our El until he has mercy on us. Have mercy on us, Yahweh. Have mercy, for we have had our fill of contempt, more than our fill of scorn from the complacent and contempt from the arrogant. Amen. It's been great. You may be seated. It's been great to have another week that we're able to gather here in this house and be able to learn the things that are so true to our heritage and to our way of life. It's interesting to me that people want to know the truth that they want to know, but they don't want to know truth. And they can't seem to disconnect themselves from the ideas that have been brought to us by people who are not us. And they can't seem to understand that these people that have brought us this diabolical thing that's across the street is filled with error and contempt for the Most High. They can't see it. They can't understand it. And yet and still, you and I stand here today with our eyes wide open. And we're blessed. Come on now. We're blessed. Look at yourself, say, I'm blessed. See, when we run across people, they say, oh, I'm blessed. They don't know what blessed really means. As I began to talk to a young man the other day, and I was beginning to share with him, I says, you know what? And I'm trying to teach him and bring him along. I says, it's a different place to be in when you have these words that the Most High has given you, if your ways please me, I will give you the desires of your heart. I said, I want you to think about that. I said, but the only problem that we have with thinking about it is the majority of people do not know when the Most High says, if your ways please me, they don't know what that is. I said, so let me tell you. And as I began to tell him, begin to talk to him, his eyes got bright, and he says, you know, that makes sense. And I'm trying to help these young people to gravitate to the ways of the Most High El. Just think about this. If your ways please me, I will give you. Come on, what's your desire? And I said, what's your desire? Whatever it is. He said, if your ways please me, you walk in my mitzvot, you walk in my commandments, in my teachings. If you'll do that, whatever your desire is, I will give it to you. Isn't that awesome? Oh, you all, come on now. Isn't that awesome? You don't sound too excited about that. Now, here's the thing. If you haven't tried it, and if you haven't tested it, and know it for yourself, then I understand your lack of excitement. But there's a song we used to sing, I tried them for myself. Tried them for myself. I've tried them for myself. Well, I've tried them for myself. So you see, when you tried it for yourself, now you know that whatever comes into your life, if you desire it, if it's healing that you need and you desire it, remember, our text says, what nation has such laws and rules? And an Elohim as close to you that hears you when you call. Think about that. Do you realize that as we walk in Torah and understand Torah, you're not walking in hope? I don't hope he hears me. Come on, you all. I'm not hoping when I talk to the Most High. I'm not, well, let me see. Scratch my head now. I hope he hears me. No. The text says, you and I have a power that is as close to us that when we call, he hears, and he's waiting to give you the desires of your heart. Moreh Shawn Appleton.
Listen. All you had to do was just start reading off this sheet. I would have stayed in my place right over there on the side. Oh, my goodness. To the beneficent, the opulent, the magnanimous, creator of all things, that from nothing created everything, who had allowed us to be here to observe a Shabbat. All of you here today are in compliance with Vayikra chapter number 23 that says that you are to work 6 days. And on the seventh day, it is to be a holy or set apart convocation, ceasing from all of ordinary things and your own interests. You're satisfying that portion of the text, and the Most High acknowledges that. So, to the Most High, I say, thank you for allowing me to be here in front of your empire of Israel, the exiled, the ones who are now feeling the repercussions of the things that our ancestors did by going into idolatry. We're slowly trying to make that turn. So I thank the Most High for the ability to be able to address his people one more again. To Ambassador B, I have to say this morning. I was elated listening to you pray. it's beautiful to hear the Most High's text being spoken back to him, asking for repentance for the things that, again, our ancestors have done that have put us in this particular position of being in exile. For us to notice that and to acknowledge and ask the Most High for forgiveness, to make sure that he understands that we understand the ways of our ancestors was not correct. And it was beautiful, zakar, which is the Hebrew word for remembering the things that the Most High has done for us. So to you, sir, Shabbat Shalom. I am never going to leave out this dear sister in the back anymore. To Ambassador Harless, Shabbat Shalom to you. She follows me to a T, making this seamless so we can all see things that are going on. So Shabbat Shalom to you. To Ambassador Tate, who runs our media. Ambassador Tate, Shabbat Shalom to you. Moreh Trey Beverly, Shabbat Shalom to you, sir. And to the Honorable Robert B. Holman Jr., the Moreh of this house, the Moreh that is my mentor, I say Shabbat Shalom to you, sir. For those of you that are joining us by way of the stream, you're like, when are you going to go ahead and crack that water open? You're just holding it the whole entire time. For those of you that are joining us by way of the stream, I want to say Shabbat Shalom to you, to our descendants that are not here, that are going to be able to hear these recordings and understand that their ancestors walked in the ways or tried to walk in the ways the best way they could in exile. Shabbat Shalom to all of you, our descendants. To this studio audience that's here with me right now. You ready to go subterranean? Are you ready to go subterranean? All right. Are you ready to go to the stratosphere? All right. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Long live the empire of Hebrew Israel. Hallelujah. Today we're going to continue our soap opera with Melech David in 2 Shemuel, chapters 15 and 16. But prior to doing that, I told you I was always going to give you a little bit of a pop quiz. What did we go over last week? Can anybody tell me what you can remember? What did you remember from happening? What's going on with David right now? His kids are being, come on, I'm old. Incest. Okay, that happened in our last chapter. That happened in chapter number what? 13. What happened? What's going on? What else is going on? He tried to figure out. See, she's as attentive as all get out. He's trying to figure out what he's doing with his sons. Yes, sir. Absalom did come back. Yes, he did. What else? What mitzvot did we go over? Rape. We went over the mitzvot of rape. What else? Whatever mitzvot did we go over? Incest. We did that one too. What else? What? Stealing, okay. Murder. Any other mitzvot? Come on, I'm looking for one. Next of kin avenger. You got to carry this next of kin avenger over into these next couple of chapters, okay? Just for a little bit. Anything else? Joab sent a clever woman from Tekoa. Tekoa has a famous prophet, famous Amos. There you go. Amos is from the town of Tekoa. Anything else? You Hebrews got it. I don't need to do any more of these teachings anymore. You guys got it nailed down. Those are the highlights that actually happened in those two particular chapters. And we're going to continue on with David. So at the end, we have the next of kin avenger issue, David. So his son comes back into Jerusalem. And we end that last chapter in chapter number 14 with David seeing his son and kissing him. The mitzvah says that he's supposed to kill him right on sight. He doesn't do that. David's the king. He elects not to kill his son, but to welcome him back. I want to put a backdrop on this particular teaching. How many of you in here have family? Everybody in here has a family, right? Okay. How many of you in here have had family y'all falling out with? Where y'all falling all the way out. Okay? Kind of the backdrop of what's going on here. Because there's going to be a culmination of something that's going to happen with Absalom here and his father here in the next couple of chapters. David is supposed to, by the mitzvot, as far as I can tell and interpret, was supposed to have killed Absalom. He lets him live. But does Absalom actually live? No. Absalom eventually is going to die. Yeah, he's eventually going to die. Okay? So, the Most High kind of works out everything through his text, which is through his mitzvot, which is great. 2 Samuel chapter number 15 and 16, these are the mitzvot that we're going to try to cover today. We're going to go over the mitzvot of appointing judges, the mitzvot of the vow, and the mitzvot not to curse the leader of the people. Okay? That one is in there too. We're going to pull those out. All right? This should be a quick read today because there really isn't, like I said, a lot of mitzvot and a lot of text that I'm going to go to today. But the text that I am going to go to, if you want to follow along, are these particular texts here. So, without any further ado, let's jump into 2 Samuel chapter number 15 and 16. And it reads, sometime later, we don't know how much later. This is after Absalom comes back into Jerusalem. Absalom prepared himself a chariot and horses with 50 men to run ahead of him. This is me talking. This is not in the text. He's got a lot of bodyguards in front of him, okay? His life is on the line. He should be a dead man, okay? So he's protecting himself. This is me talking. That's not in the text, all right? He would get up early and stand by the road leading to the city gate. And if someone had a case that was to come before the king for judgment, Absalom would call to him and ask, "Which city are you from?" He would answer, "Your servant is from the such and such tribe of Israel." Absalom would say to him, "Look, your case or cause, is good and just, but the king hasn't deputized anyone to hear your case." Bing, 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 bing. There's a mitzvot there. Absalom would continue. "Now, if I were made judge in the land." You back there, take my Moreh, taking my thunder. Yes, you were supposed to be dead, and now we're starting to circumvent the throne. We're starting to put some dissension between David and Absalom, his son. Now, I actually want to ask you guys a question. Now that you know that Shlomo is actually going to be king, how kings actually work in Israel. Remember that. That's going to come up. How the succession of kings work. How does a king get picked? I'm giving you the answer already. Then Absalom would continue. "Now, if I were made judge in the land, anyone with a suit or other cause could come to me, and I would see that he gets justice." Now, I want to point you to a mitzvot, one of our first ones here. Mitzvot on appointing judges. It is a mitzvot in the land. Let's go to Devarim chapter number 16, verses 18 through 20. And it says, "You are to appoint judges and officers for all your gates in the cities, Eye Asher Eye, your El is giving you, tribe by tribe." There are many cities in Eretz Israel, and at all those city gates, we're to appoint a judge at those city gates, okay? What Absalom is criticizing his father for here in a minute is that his father is not assigning or deputizing judges yet, okay? So let's continue to read what the mitzvot says. Tribe by tribe. "And they are to judge the people with what? Righteousness." What's righteousness? Torah. Excellent. You are not to distort justice or show favoritism. You are not to accept a bribe, for a gift blinds the eyes of the wise and twists the words of even the upright. Justice, only justice, you must pursue, so that you will live and inherit the land Eye Asher Eye Yoel is giving you. Let's jump back over into 2 Shemuel chapter number 15, verse 5. It says, moreover, whenever any man came close to prostrate himself before, this is Absalom, before him, he would put out his hand, take hold of him, and kiss him. Now, this is how Absalom behaved toward anyone in Israel who came to the king for judgment. And this was the way that Absalom stole the hearts of the people of Israel. What is he doing? He's going to the gate. He's circumventing the throne. He's showing people compassion. He's starting to, what you young people say today, build up a following. Okay, yeah, that doesn't resonate with y'all. Y'all on social media and everything. You want your following is one of the things that's tantamount, right? Yeah, he's trying to get the pop. He's going viral with the people of Israel, okay? Because he's rendering judgment. Even though he has not been appointed as a judge, he's rendering judgment on cases for the people of Israel and showing them compassion, okay? At the end of 40 years, so between verse 6 and 7, 40 years happens. Absalom's 40 years older, David's 40 years older. So this has been going on for 40 years. He's been building up his following on YouTube. Okay? Absalom said to the king, the Melech, he says, please let me go to Hebron. Bing, 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 bing. What is Hebron? Hebron is a city of refuge. Come on. Absalom is still a fugitive. David is still the next of kin avenger. So if I had some issues that were going on, I'd want to go to the city of refuge because why? In the city of refuge, I have safety from the next of kin avenger. Please let me go to Hebron and fulfill the vow I made to Eye Asher Eye. Ask yourself the question, you should be right now, what was the vow that Absalom made to Eye Asher Eye? Prior to this, we don't know, but you're going to figure that out here in a second. It says 8, your servant made a vow while I was staying in Geshur. Why does he go to Geshur? Because his maternal grandfather is a foreigner from the land of Geshur. We're going to go over those mitzvot, or at least those references here in a second. It says, at Geshur, in Amram, to the effect that Eye Asher Eye would bring me back. This is the vow he makes. Listen to what he says, and I'm going to read it slow. When I always get to these points where I tell you I want to read something slow, I want you to really think about the words that are coming out of my mouth. All right? In Amram, to the effect, start listening. If Eye Asher Eye would bring me back to Yerushalayim, then I would serve Eye Asher Eye. 9. The king said to him, go in peace. He goes to his father and he says, I made a vow in Geshur to Eye Asher Eye that if he brought me back to Yerushalayim, that I would serve Eye Asher Eye. So the king said to him, his father said, go in peace. So he set out and went to Hebron. 10. But Absalom sent spies through the tribes of Israel to say, the moment you hear the sound of the shofar, start proclaiming Absalom is king in Hebron. Let's go back and get some things, okay? I want to go over the mitzvot of the vow. The mitzvot of the vow can be found in Bad Midbar, chapter number 30, verse 2. when you make a vow, to have and to hold, till death do us part. This is my vow. Let's read the mitzvah on a vow. Your word is your bond, Hebrews. When you say something, you better insert curse word, do it. When you open your mouth to say that you're going to do something, you better do it. Okay? Mitzvot on the vow. It says, then Moshe spoke to the heads of the tribes of the people of Israel, and he said, here is what Eye Asher Eye has ordered. When a man makes a vow to Eye Asher Eye, or formally obligates himself by swearing an oath, he is not to break his word, but to do everything he said he would do. You don't get an opportunity to back out. If you said you're going to do something, there's no excuse for it. You have to fulfill what you said. Period. Let's go back over. And I'm going to read this again. Verse 7, 2 Samuel, chapter number 15. He has to fulfill what he said. Verse 7, it says, at the end of 40 years, Avshalom said to the king, please let me go to Hebron and fulfill the what? The vow I made to who? Eye Asher Eye. Did we just not read the mitzvot? When you make a vow to Eye Asher Eye, you have to fulfill it. It says, your servant made a vow while I was staying at Geshur in Amran to the effect that if Eye Asher Eye would bring me back to Yerushalayim, then I would serve Eye Asher Eye. Is there anything about that that's off to you? Okay, hold on. In 9, it says, the king said to him, go in peace. So he set out and he went to Hebron. What's wrong? If there is anything wrong, why is that odd to you? He should be serving Yah regardless. I like that. I'm going to show you what I saw here. This is me talking now. He put, now listen, all of the things that are adding up to where we are right now says, I killed my brother Amnon because he raped my sister Tamar. Now I am a murderer. My father is the next of kin avenger. I have to leave or I'm going to get killed. I go to my maternal grandfather in Geshur to escape my father. While I was there, I made a vow in the 2 years I was there that said, if I return, because someone is coming to kill me, if I return to Yerushalayim, then I would serve as king of Israel. Do you see it? Because later on here, when we get in the text, the whole entire rest of this chapter is him being king of Israel. I just read it to you. It says here, it says in 10, it says, but Avshalom sent spies through all the tribes of Israel to say, the moment you hear the sound of the shofar, then start proclaiming Avshalom is king in Hebron. Absalom made a vow to Eye. It says, Most High, I'm on the run. I know I'm a murderer, but if you bring me back to Jerusalem, I will stand in the place of my father and be king over Israel. Yes, sir. He's already in the city of refuge. So he's fortified. That's why I brought that up earlier. He's fortified in a city already, because if his dad decides that he wants to come after him because he gets mad at the fact that you're proclaiming that you're the new king, he can't do anything to him because he's in the city of refuge. You use these mitzvot to understand what's going on. I'm going to make a point here, okay? The problem that we have in Christianity is that we do a bunch of surface reading, okay? Being a Hebrew means that you have to understand the mitzvot. This is a technical manual. It's a technical manual. I couldn't go to your job and start speaking your lingo until I actually gone through some type of training on what these things mean. So when you're having these types of conversations and you're abbreviating stuff, you already know there's a code that you're talking in already because there's a baseline foundation of what's going on there. The problem in Christianity is they throw out all of the technical parts, all of the things that you need in order to be successful to interpret what's in text. So when you come in, the first thing they tell you is that the law has been done away with. So therefore, since the law has been done away with, how in the world can you read our text? They can't. So this is what they do every single week. They go over there and they get to something little cute that says this one little sentence blurb, and what they do is springboard off of it and talk about something else for 40 minutes or however long they're up there. You cannot understand your people unless you understand the culture and lifestyle they led, which was led by Torah and Torah alone. Okay? Wise man once told me, says, once you're trying to solve an equation, if you apply what? You will always get the right answer. Okay? He made us vow to Eya says, I'm going to be king. At the culmination of 40 years, now what's he doing? He's got 40 years of YouTube subscribers behind him now. He's got a following now. Now is the time for me to make my move and fulfill my vow. We get it? Okay, let's move forward. It says in 12, Avshalom sent for Ahitophel. Remember this guy. Man, you don't want to fool with this dude here. The Giloni, David's personal counselor. And you can see 2 Samuel chapter number 8, you don't have to go there, 15 through 18 for all the prominent figures that were in David's court. It says, to come from the town of Gilo and be with him while offering the sacrifices. The conspiracy. Ooh, excuse me. Why did y'all let me jump down and I didn't read the rest of this that was there? Come on, let's go back. We got to get 11. We missed 11. I went right straight to 12. Let's go back and get 11. It says, matter of fact, let's go back and get 10 and get some context. All right? Let's go back to 10. It says, but Avshalom sent spies throughout the tribes of Israel to say, the moment you hear the sound of the shofar, start proclaiming Avshalom as king in Hebron. With Avshalom went 200 men from Jerusalem who had been invited. They went innocently, knowing nothing about his scheme, which is to usurp the throne. Okay? Avshalom sent for Ahitophel, the Giloni, David's counselor, to come from the town of Gilo and be with him while offering sacrifices. The conspiracy grew strong because the number of people favoring Avshalom kept increasing. Verse 13, a messenger came to David saying, the men of Israel have aligned themselves with Avshalom. Oh boy, here comes the coup. David said to his servants with him in Jerusalem, get up. We must flee. Otherwise, none of us will escape from Avshalom. Hurry and leave, or he will soon overtake us, attack us, and put the city to the sword. The king's servant said to the king, here, your servants are ready to do whatever my lord, the king, decides. So the king set out, and all of his household after him. The king left 10 women who were concubines to take care of the palace. So we at least know up until this point, wives, David has anywhere in between probably 8 and 10 wives. And now we have a confirmation that he has 10 concubines. So he at least has 20 women that he has. Now, there is a mitzvah that talks about having women in excess. A real strong mitzvah that talks about that. We may get to it. That his son Shlomo falls victim to. Anybody know how many women Shlomo had? Shlomo had 700 wives, and he had 3 Let me tell you something. I have one, beautiful one, and that's enough. To turn around and have 999 more? He had 700 wives and 300 concubines, okay? And because of that, they all led him astray. They were from the nations. He had all kinds of women from the nations, and what he did is they turned around and they turned his heart away from the Most High. It's in the mitzvah. Matter of fact, let's go there. Let's go to Devarim chapter number 17. Verse 14. Let's see if it's there. I think it's there. Devarim chapter number 17, verses 14. I'll read it off of here. Oh, this is a good one. Because this is also as well. Let's talk about a mitzvah that's in place. Now, Avshalom said, I'm going to make a vow. This is kind of a point. If you're making a vow that is in conflict with the Most High's mitzvot, it's not going to work. Okay? He said, if I go back to Yerushalayim, I'm going to be king. And the mitzvot says, who appoints the king of Israel? The Most High appoints the king of Israel. So you can't self-proclaim that you're going to be the king of Israel. So your vow that you made is pretty much null and void. All right? So let's read what we have here. When you enter the land, does everybody know where your land is? Good. Eya asher eye, your El, not the nation's El, your El, is giving you, have taken possession of it, and are living there. You may say, I want to have a king over me. I like that part where it says, you may say. The intention was not for you to have one. But since you Hebrews like being like everybody else, you may say, I want to have a king over me, like all the other nations around me. In that event, you must appoint a king, the one whom who? Yahweh, your El, will choose. He must be from where? One of your kinsmen. The king, this king, you appoint over you. You are forbidden to appoint who? The foreigner. The foreigner cannot be king in Eretz Israel. Who is not your kinsman. However, he is not to acquire what? Many horses for himself, or have people return to Mitzrayim to obtain many horses, insomuch as Eya Asher Eye told you never to go back that way again. Likewise, he is not to acquire many wives for himself, so that his heart will not turn away, and he is not to acquire excessive quantities of silver and gold. Okay? So your aim, I can't even call them. You know what? Trying to make an analogy with the Christian church here is not even, I almost feel bad doing it because they're not Hebraic. Almost need to talk about Hebrews in the realm of Hebrews. Because where I was getting ready to go with all y'all folks that want to fleece the people of all their money and make millions and millions of dollars off the back of lies and all that stuff, I was going to tie that in there somehow. But why would I do that? Because they're not Hebraic. They don't even care about this over here. So they can do whatever they want to do. The nations can do whatever they want to do all day long. But within the confines of Hebrew Israel, we abide by the mitzvah, okay? Let's get back over to 2 Samuel chapter number 15. And let's pick up at verse 17. That's where we are. And it says, the king set out with all the people after him, but they waited at the last house. So all the people that are coming with him, his entourage, they get to the last house in Israel, and then the king is going to stop there. It says, at the last house, for all the servants to pass by him in review, all the Keriti and the Peleti and all the Gittim, 600 men who had accompanied him from Gat passed in review before the king. Real quick, you guys remember what happened in Gat? What happened in Gat is David is now on the run from Melech Shaul. He runs to the foreigner. He runs to King Achish. They're going to go to war with Hebrew Israel. David is joining the front line of the foreigner, which is Gat, to fight against Hebrew Israel. The leaders of Gat say, send this Hebrew back home because we don't need him here on the front lines. What if he turns on us? He's got somebody behind technically enemy lines that can attack us from within. He says, send his tail back home. He goes back home to the city of Ziklag that was given to him by King Achish. Okay, he returns to the city and the city is burnt to the ground. They took all the people that were there, the women and the children. David's two wives, Ahinoam and Abigail, are a part of that crew that gets taken. Okay? The 600 men that are with David are that 600 were in Gat. And they got angry at David. They said, we came and followed you. We left our inheritance in Eretz Israel to follow you into a foreign nation. And now our children and our women are now gone because of you. That's that 600 I'm talking about. Okay? Same group of guys. Loyal to a fault. And again, we learned that he had a special 37 that he has in 2 Samuel chapter number 23. And out of that special 37, there's a guy named Uriah the Hittite that was in there that he killed. That is starting this whole ball rolling. I like the Most High because he is sovereign. Even if the egregious act is done against a foreigner, look at what all happened to David after this. His whole he has sons that are going to die because he wronged a foreigner and violated the mitzvah. Doesn't matter who you are in Hebrew Israel. The Most High is sovereign and will enact justice on whomever. King from the bishop to the back door. Okay? Then, 19. Then the king said, I'm sorry, let me get off my soapbox. Then the king said to Ittai, the Gittite, you too, or let me say it the way he would have said it. You too? Why are you going with us? Go back and stay with your king, since you are both a foreigner and in exile from your own place. You arrived only yesterday. Should I ask you to wander around with us? There's no telling where I may go. Return and take your kinsmen back with you. Grace and truth be with you. But Ittai answered the king, as Eye Ashee lives, and as my lord the king lives, wherever my lord the king may be, whether for death or for life, your servant will be there too. Go, move along, David said to Ittai. And Ittai the Gittite moved on, accompanied by all the men and little ones with him. The whole country wept and wailed as the people left. Wow. When the king crossed the Wadi Kidron, all of the people crossed too, heading towards the desert road. Zadok, which is a Kohanim. He's the son of Aktuv. And again, you can go back to 2 Samuel chapter 8, verses 15 through 18. You'll find who Aktuv is there. I'm not going there. Also came accompanied by all the Leviim bearing the ark for the covenant. Then they set the ark of El down, and Yevitar went up, he's another Kohanim, went up until all the people had finished leaving the city. 25. Then the king said to Zadok, the Kohanim, said, carry the ark of El back into the city. So that means that Zadok is what? He's from the tribe of Kihat, because Kihat, per the mitzvot, are the only people that can carry the articles of the tabernacle, okay? So we know a little bit about him just by saying the actions that he's taking care of, because there's only specific people that can do it. Carry the ark of El into the city, and if I find favor in Eye Ashee's sight, he will bring me back and show me both it and the place where it is kept. Take the ark, take it back into Yerushalayim, and if it's the will of the Most High, I'll return as king and I will see the ark one more time. It says, but if he says, I am displeased with you, then here I am. Let him do to me whatever seems good to him. The king then said to Zadok the Kohen, do you see? Return to the city in peace. Your two sons with you. Ahimaaz, your own son, Yehohanan, the son of Abiathar. I will wait on the desert plains until a message with new information comes from you. He's sending his people back into Jerusalem. Get some recon from me. Let me know what's going on from time to time so I can understand. Okay? This is a military man. Don't ever forget that. Not only to all you ladies, David is fine, is all get out. Okay? He's the king of Eretz Israel. He is a masterful musician. Come on, I'm not describing the Disneyland fantasy man for y'all. Not only can the man sing, not only is the man controlling the country, not only is the man rich as all get out, not only is the man equipped to lead and guide you as a priest of his house because he knows the mitzvot, which is probably the most tantamount and important thing about him. The Most High loves him. All these things that David is. And on top of that, he's a military man. He will beat the living fool out of you in a heartbeat. On sight. He ain't the beta male, okay? He ain't that dude, okay? You're messing with me and mine, I'm going to come straight for your throat. I'm going to $150 your face up. If anybody knows, you probably know what I'm talking about with a $150. I'm like, ask me what a $150 is after this is over with. He's a military man, so he's got to keep his eyes on what's going on in Eretz Israel. It says in verse 30, let's go to 29. So Saduk and Abiathar carried the ark of El back to Jerusalem. We know they have to be from the tribe of Kahat to do that. To Jerusalem and stayed there. Verse 30, David continued up the road to the Mount of Olives, weeping as he went up, head covered and barefoot. All the people with him had their heads covered and wept as they went up. One of them told David, who? Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. I want you to understand who Ahithophel is. Okay? Ahithophel is David's counselor. And we're going to learn that at the back half of chapter number 16. Ahithophel is, I'll put it to you like this. When there is an issue of a mitzvot, Ahithophel is who David calls. There's a gray area. He's almost like a Moshe to David. Ahithophel is. He is not one of these people that is a slouch when it comes to the mitzvot. Okay? So, one of them, in verse 31, it says, one of them told David, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. So your main counselor, your Moshe, is against you. David said, please turn Ahithophel's advice into foolishness. When David, because he knew it, so he says, this is over with now. So David said to him, if I go, excuse me, I dropped down too far. 32. When David reached the top of the ascent, where it was customary to worship El, Hushai, the Archi, came and met with him, his tunic torn and earth on his head. 33. David said to him, if you go on with me, you will become a burden to me. Listen to what David's saying to him. If you go with me, you will become a burden to me. But if you go back to the city, and tell Absalom this, king, I will be your servant, just as I was your father's servant in the past. So now I will be your servant. Then you will be able to frustrate Ahithophel's advice for me. David is sending somebody in there, into the inner court, to mess up the advice of Ahithophel, who's probably trying to come up with a way to kill him. Okay? I'm going to send my best friend in there to do it. Okay? So, Hushai, David's friend, came into the city and went to Absalom, and was about to enter Jerusalem. Chapter number 16. Did I skip? I skipped a whole bunch. How much did I skip? I hit a whole lot. Let's keep going. Woo-wee. Said, you have Saduk. Wait a minute. Thank you. Thank you for following with me. Somebody needs to redo his notes while we're up here. But that's good. That's why we do this. That's why we put it on the board. If I get off, thank you, Hebrews, I can't get it all right myself. Come on. That's why we're family in here. Thank you. You have Saduk and Avitar, the Kohanim, there with you. So whatever you hear from the king's house, you tell Saduk and Avitar, the Kohanim, their two sons, Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok, and Yotanan, and the son of Avitar, were with them. Through them, send me everything you hear. So Hushai, David's friend, there we go, came into the city when Absalom was about to enter Jerusalem. 16. So, do we understand what's going on? David's sending his friend in there, and he says, hey, tell these Kohanim that something happens there. Tell them to send their two sons over to me to let me know what's going on. Give me some reconnaissance. I just need to know what's going on, okay? Make sure that, and also while you're in there, make sure you jack up Ahithophel's advice to the so-called now king, my son, Absalom, so I don't get killed. It says, when David had gone a little past the summit, there was Sivia, the servant of Mephibosheth. Everybody remember who Mephibosheth is? Nobody remembers who Mephibosheth is. Okay, Mephibosheth. Melech Shaul has a son. Okay? His son, one of his sons' name is Yehohanan. Yehohanan is best friends with David. This is one of his first best friends. Now, Yehohanan is a little bit older than David. Yehohanan has a son named Mephibosheth. David made a vow as they were splitting up. As he's on the run from Melech Shaul, he tells his best friend Yehohanan, he says, hey, listen, I'll take care of your family. Okay? I'll take care of them. He makes that vow wherever we are. We come to find out that in the battle between the Philistine and Eretz Israel, that Yehohanan gets killed. Melech Shaul gets killed. In the commotion, Mephibosheth is a young child at the time. The nurse scoops him up, and as she's running, or he's running behind her, however that works, that plays out in the text, he falls down and he becomes lame in his legs. He can't walk. So, because he can't walk, he has to have people that take care of him. One of the people that takes care of him is Sivia, this guy right here. We know that Sivia is from what house? What tribe is he from? You have to know what tribe Melech Shaul is from. Benjamin. Okay? It says, there was Sivia, the servant of Mephibosheth, who met him with a pair of donkeys, saddled on them 200 loaves of bread and 100 bunches of raisins and 100 pieces of summer fruit, probably watermelon. No, I'm kidding with y'all. And a skin of wine. You can find the story of Mephibosheth in 2 Samuel chapter 2, verses 9, verses 2 through 6, if you need a reference. The king said to Siva, what do you mean by these? You came out of nowhere. What's all this for? Sivia replied, the donkeys are for the king's household to ride on. The bread and the summer fruit are for the young men to eat, and the wine is for those who collapse in the desert to drink. The king asked, where is your master's grandson? Which is who? Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth is the last heir from Melech Shaul. Melech Shaul was the king of Israel. Okay? Sevilla answered the king. He's staying in Jerusalem because he said, today the house of Israel will restore my father's kingship to me. You see what's happening now? You've got Absalom and Hebron saying that he's king of Israel. And then you've got Mephibosheth, who is the descendant of Melech Shaul in Jerusalem, saying, I'm the king of Israel. I guess when the cat's away, the mice will play. So, Sevilla answered, I bow down before you. May I find, I missed it? Come on. Where am I at? 4. The king said to Sevilla, everything that belongs to Mephibosheth is now yours. Okay, thank you. Missed that. That's a big part. Since he wants to go down there and take and usurp the throne, everything that Mephibosheth had that I gave to him is now yours. I grant it to you. I'm still the king. Mephibosheth is not the king. And I can make those kinds of decisions. So whatever real estate, whatever pieces of property that he had are now yours. His property is now yours. David is being cautious. The same thing that David did with Hushai to send him back into the court of Absalom to do recon. Now I got Sevilla from the tribe of Benjamin, who was from the house of Melech Shaul, coming to see me. How do I know this same thing is not happening to me too? This is a game of warfare that's going on right now behind the scenes. This is strategic. Now, we go, it says, Sevilla answered, I bow down before you. May I find favor in your sight, my lord king. 5, when King David arrived at Bahurim, there came out from there a man from Shaul's family named Shimei, the son of Gera. And he came out pronouncing curses. Bing, 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 bing. There's a mitzvah there, isn't it? Yeah. All right. When the king arrived at Bahurim, there came out from there a man from Shaul's family, former king, named Shimei, the son of Gera. And he came out pronouncing curses and throwing stones at David and all the king's servants, even though all the people, including his bodyguard, surrounded him right and left. When Shimei cursed, he said, get out of here. Get out of here, you killer. You good for nothing. Eya Asher Eya has brought back on you all the blood of the house of Shaul, usurped the kingship, but Eya Asher Eya has handed over the kingship to Absalom, your son. Now your own evil has overtaken you because you are a man of blood. Avishai, who can remember who Avishai is? Avishai is the brother of Joab. Joab is the commander of David's army. So he has 2 main generals, Avishai and Joab. This is one of his other commanders. Avishai, the son of Seruah, said to the king, why allow this dead dog to curse my lord, the king? Just let me go and remove his head. The king said, do the sons of Zeruiah and I have anything in common? I want you to remember that. That's going to come back up again. He's saying this. Do you and I have anything in common? You guys are bloodthirsty. Bloodthirsty. I'm not that way. And I'm going to use this as a precedent in the future when I'm going to prove to you that Zeruiah is actually a foreigner, a full-blown foreigner. But she's also David's sister. Now think about how can that be. I'm going to prove it next week. Stay tuned, okay? Then the king said, do the sons of Zeruiah and I have anything in common? Let him curse. If Eya Asher Eya tells him, curse David, who has the right to ask, why are you doing it? David then said to Avishai and all his servants, look, my own son, who came from my own body, seeks my life. So how much more is this Benjamin? My own child wants to kill me. This clown wants to kill me too, whatever. The worst thing that's happening right now is my own son is trying to come after me. So what is it that this extra person over here is doing it too? You're getting wrapped up on something real petty with this dude, okay? He's trying to divert his attention. But I'm going to tell you something, you Hebrews. We're going to go over the mitzvot here in a second, okay? It says, look, my own son who came from my own body, seeks my life. So how much more is this Benjamin? Let him alone. Let him curse. If Eya Asher Eye told him to, maybe Eya Asher Eye will notice how I'm treating him. And Eya Asher Eye will reward me with good instead of curses. I could see the Christian church coming over here and grabbing this and doing something else with this all day long. But I want to do something first. Let's go over the mitzvah on cursing a leader. Okay? It's in Shemot, chapter number 22, verse 27. It's real short. It's real short. It's just a command not to do it. It says, you are not to curse El. And you are not to curse a leader of your people. That's what the text says. Is David the leader of his people? Is this Benjamite in violation of the law? Now, here David shows favor for a short amount of time. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter number 2, verse 8 through 9. Because he remembers this. I want to give you a precursor as David is going to the end of his life, he's now advising his son Shlomo on this particular matter. It says, finally, you have with you the Shimini, the son of Gera, the Benjamin. Is that not who we just got done talking about? Okay. It says, from Becharim, he laid a terrible curse on me when I was on my way to Machayim. But he came down to meet me at the Yarden. So I swore to him by Eya Asher Eye that I would not have him put to death with the sword. Now, however, you should not let him go unpunished. You are a wise man, and you will know what to do with him. You will bring his gray hair down to the grave with blood. I made a vow that I wasn't going to kill him, but you didn't. And I ain't forgot that curse that you put on me. So now that you're a wise man and now that you know the mitzvot, you have some license to do something. So we wound up finding out that this individual that cursed David got his comeuppance anyhow. All right? Let's jump back over into 2 Samuel chapter number 16. Let's go over to verse, come on, where did I leave off? Y'all reading this better than I am today. I think verse number 13. It says, so David and his men went on their way, while on the opposite hillside of Shimei kept pace with him, cursing, throwing stones, and flinging dust as he went. The king and all the people with him arrived exhausted, so he rested there. Meanwhile, Avshalom and all the people, the men of Israel, came to Jerusalem. Here he is again. Ahithophel was with him. Hushai, the Archi, David's friend, came to Avshalom and said to him, long live the king. Long live the king. So David's friend is now back in Hebron. He's getting ready to talk to Avshalom, his son. Okay? So we're starting to put this plan in motion. Long live the king. Long live the king. 17, Avshalom asked Hushai, is this how you show kindness to your friend? Is this how you repay your friend David? He's already suspicious of him. Why didn't you go with your friend? Hushai replied, no, but whomever Eya Asher Eye and the people and all of the men of Israel choose, his I will be. and with him I will stay. Moreover, whom should I serve? Shouldn't I serve in the presence of his son, just as I served in your father's presence? Who will I be in your presence? So will I be in your presence? Absalom said to Ahithophel, give your advice as to what we should do about dear old dad. Absalom is asking Ahithophel what to do about this issue called David. Ahithophel answered Absalom, go in and sleep with your father's concubines, the ones he left. Here we go. Let's go slow. I want to go super slow because I told y'all this a long time ago. This is something you're going to see again. I told y'all that. I want to go extremely slow. Almost slow to a fault, to boring you to tears slow. Ahithophel answered Absalom, go in and sleep with your father's concubines. How many of them are there? 10. Remember, I said he left 10 of them in the palace when he left. Go and sleep with your father's concubines. The ones he left to take care of the palace, the 10. All of Israel will hear that your father utterly despises you, and this will strengthen your position of all those who are on your side. Let's continue to build up some dissension between you and your father. Let's widen the chasm a little bit here. Once he knows that he's super upset with you because you slept with his concubines, then it's going to be all-out war. And then people are going to continue to fortify themselves behind you. Okay? So, they set up a tent for Absalom on the roof of the palace. And Absalom went in to sleep with his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. Let's go to 2 Samuel, chapter number 14. We are going to go to 2 Samuel, chapter number 14. No. 12. Let's go to 12. 13, 14, 12. Yes. And we are going to start at okay. Let's start at verse 7. What's happening now? Ahithophel just gave Absalom advice and said, go and sleep with your father's concubines on the roof of your daddy's house. So all Israel can see it, hear it, believe it, maybe even smell it. Chapter 12 of 2 Samuel, verse 7, it says, Nathan said to David, this is after David has done the deed with Bathsheba, okay, and Uriah has been killed. Now the prophet is coming to tell him about this mitzvah on theft. But I want you to hear what's in this particular piece that he tells him. He said, here is what Eya Asher Eye, the El of Israel says. I anointed you king over Israel. I rescued you from the power of Shaul. I gave your master's house and your master's wives to embrace. I gave you the house of Israel and the house of Yehudah. And if that had been too little, I would have added to you a lot more. So why have you shown such contempt for the word of Eya Asher Eya and done what I see as evil? You murdered Uriah the Hittite and with the sword and taken his wife as your own. There's that theft piece. You put him to death with the sword of the people of Ammon. 10. Now, therefore, the sword will never leave your house because 1, you have shown contempt for me, and 2, taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite as your own wife. 11. Here is what Eye Asher Eye says. I will generate evil against you, and out of your own household I will take your wives before your very eyes and give them to your neighbor. He will go to bed with your wives, and everyone will know about it. For you did it secretly, but I will do this before all of Israel in broad daylight. What is Avishai telling Absalom to do? He's doing this mitzvah, he's doing this prophecy that was told to David from Natan. It's coming to fruition. That's a prophecy that comes back up. Okay? You've heard this before. So what's happening to David right now is the fulfilling of a prophecy, even if it happened 40 plus years later. All right? Let's finish this bad boy out. So let's go back to 21, 2 Samuel, chapter number 16. That's it, chapter number 16, verse 21. Ahithophel answered Absalom, go in and sleep with your father's concubines, the ones he left to take care of the palace, which are technically David's wives. All of Israel will hear it, that your father has utterly despises you, and this will strengthen your position of all those who are on your side. 22, so he set up a tent for Absalom on the roof of the palace, and Absalom went to sleep with his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. That is the culmination of a prophecy that comes to fruition. Verse 23, it says, in those days, Ahithophel's advice was regarded as highly as if someone had sought out the word of El. It was this way with Ahithophel's advice, both David and to Absalom. We'll figure out what happens when we come back next week and finish this out. Hopefully today, you got something. If anything, we went over these mitzvot to fortify your mind, cursing the leader, the vow, right? The ones that I have here, and appointing judges. We went over those mitzvot today. I hope the words that have come out of my mouth today have edified the empire of Eretz Israel and all pan-Hebrewism, that you had a deeper understanding. I said I was going to try to go to subterranean on y'all today. Hopefully that happened today. And we went to the stratosphere with some of this stuff. The Most High never ceases to amaze. When we work the problem according to the rule, you will always get the right answer. You can read this with some type of context to say, I know what my ancestors are doing, and I know why they're doing it. I know the motivation behind it. This all brings us to a deeper understanding of who your Most High is. So when you get over to some other text and they tell you your Most High did something, you be like, no, he doesn't. That is not the behavior of Eye Asher Eye. He doesn't act unseemingly like this. So, I say to all of you that have been edified, as we stand, let me bless you. Bamidbar chapter number 6, verses 24 through 26, reads in the Hebrew. Yivarekaka Yahweh v'yishmareka. Yair Yahweh panav eleka v'chaneka. Yisa Yahweh panav eleka v'yasam laka shalom. Which simply means in English, may Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face to shine on you and show you his favor. May Yahweh lift up his face towards you and give you shalom. Until next time, thank you.